In this video, I will show you how to create this Revolve piece right here. This drawing can be found on Learning Suite underneath the Revolve video resources. This is the beginning drawing, number one. And I'll show you some techniques that I like to use when I create a revolved feature. Just like before with extrudes, I like to recognize if something is symmetric, and I can see here if I draw a vertical line, this part is in fact symmetric about this origin, or sorry, about this vertical line. As well as, because it's a revolve feature, it's also symmetric about a center line, wherever that center axis is that revolves. And so when I'm sketching this, I actually only need to sketch just 1/4 of this drawing, and then I can mirror it and I can revolve it, and that will take care of the rest. And so you can actually accomplish this part using just one single revolve feature, which is really nice. One thing I will say, these threads are something that's done after the fact, after the revolve, these thread callouts right here. And so I won't worry about these in this video. This is something that you'll do in later labs when you're learning about thread callouts and things like that. But you do need two pieces of information from these thread callouts. This x.5 means that these holes go 1/2 inch into the part. And then this diameter right here is the actual diameter that you'll be creating these holes. When somebody goes to, if you were actually manufacturing this part, somebody will go to tap them. This is the minor diameter of the thread, 1/4 inch is the major diameter of the thread. And so that's what they need, is they need a hole that's drilled to this diameter, even though it's a 1/4-20 thread. If that doesn't mean anything to you right now, that's totally fine. Again, just know that you need to make the holes this diameter, and you need to make them go down 1/2 inch. And so now we'll go over to SolidWorks and we'll create a sketch here. And on this sketch, what I like to do before I do a revolve, before I start doing all the nitty-gritty stuff, is I like to create some sort of bounding rectangle. Like I said, I already know that this part is symmetric about the origin in both ways, both this way and this way. And so if I can create this rectangle, I can see that everything I'm going to sketch will be contained inside this rectangle, which will be really helpful for me. And so I will make this rectangle the same size as the part. The part overall is 5 inches long, so I need to make this rectangle 2.5. And the part overall is 1.25 inches in diameter. So if you don't want to do the math, you can actually type 1.25 inches divided by, not divided by 5, sorry, divided by 2. And you'll get the right diameter there. And then it's just a matter of sketching everything else. And so I can start sketching here, and I'll actually pause the video and finish defining the rest of the sketch, and I'll allow you to catch up if you pause the video as well. One thing I will say, again, this is where that 1/2 inch comes in play. That 1/2 inch is the depth of this hole, so it goes down 0.5. And the 0.1960 is the diameter of the hole. But again, we're working only in half of the part. And so I can type 0.1960 and then divide that by 2 if I don't want to do the math. And so anything that has to do with diameters, when I'm creating the sketch, it's going to be divided by 2. Just remember that. That'll help you out while you're creating this. And so I'll go ahead and pause the recording. So I went ahead and finished defining that sketch, and I mirrored it about this plane right here. That's why you have all these mirror constraints. I'm actually going to hide those so that it's a little bit easier to see the sketch. Before I do the revolve, I just wanted to explain a few things. If it's not clear to you, these center marks correspond to these arcs right here. And so if you define the position of those center marks and you make an equal constraint between the two arcs, then you actually don't need the radii for those arcs. That's why it's not included on the drawing. So go ahead and make sure you do that. And again, make sure you get the dimensions right for this hole here. If you can't quite see that, that's a hole just yet. I think you will in a second when you actually revolve this. But here, we should be good to go. The sketch is fully defined, and it, as far as I can tell, it matches the dimensions on the drawing. And so what I'm going to do is do a revolve boss/base. And for axis of revolution, I just need to pick where I want to revolve it from. And I can actually just pick this center line right here. And if I do that and hit OK, you notice we've got the part. Super simple. And so that's the beauty of the revolve feature, is it allows you to create, with minimal effort, you can create some pretty cool, pretty complicated parts. And then just to recap, again, one thing I like to do, and I would encourage you to do, is I like to make this little bounding box to kind of, when I put these lines out here, I didn't have to define any of them really, because they were just in line with this box, and it made life pretty easy for me there. So that's something I'd encourage you to do. And then just make sure everything else is right, and you should be able to make this part pretty easily without too much trouble.